Oscars has a question here. If USC scores 50 points and the defense allows only 21 points, we are the nation start to see USC as a national.
Will the nation, I think. Will the nation start to see USC? Yeah. I mean, if that's replicated on a consistent basis against good teams, no doubt. But like if USC beats Stanford 50-21, it's Stanford. No disrespect to Stanford, but Stanford is coming off a 3-9 season. So just in terms of national resonance, there won't be really significant buzz in terms of that level. Although, I mean, a decisive win certainly would move the ball in the right direction. But, we don't know what Stanford is like. We don't know how good Stanford really is. So, it's really hard to say what this week 2 could do. I think the main thing for USC, just win. Just get a win on the road in Lincoln Riley's first conference game. I don't think the style points have to be great. And I'm on record as saying that, if there are some rough edges, get them out of the way now. Like, this is the time where you want to win without being at your absolute best, firing on all cylinders, because these players who, seem to be very coachable, very open to what Lincoln Riley and Alex Grinch are telling them, you want them to be sponges. You want them to be receptive to learning. And so if USC absolutely drills Stanford, I mean, I'm not going to complain about it, but just might feed a little bit of overconfidence heading into Fresno State and then that big game against Oregon State in week 4. I do want USC to taste a little bit of adversity. Now, it tasted a very tiny bit of adversity against Rice in the first quarter, but it was only the first quarter, and Caleb Williams was doing so well on offense. The game never, ever, ever in doubt. Maybe there will be a slight pinch of doubt in this game against Stanford on Saturday with, Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, or not Fowler. He's going to be calling the U.S. Open final, but with, a primetime announce crew. It'll be interesting to see if USC does have like a slightly sticky situation. Like maybe it's a 14-10 game at halftime. The offense is stuck in the mud a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if there is some adversity, how USC responds to it.
You mentioned Oregon State. They put together a much better effort than Vegas expected, blowing out Boise State. It was a 24-0 game at one point. They cruised on to a 17-point win. So Oregon State, one of the few members of the Pac-12 that showed out, probably with the best performance outside of Arizona's performance, defeating San Diego State by 18 points. That caught me off guard. And you can catch Matt's new podcast that uploads, I believe, every Tuesday, correct?
Absolutely.
Every Tuesday.
So in this week's episode, we talked about Utah versus Florida, and we talked about Oregon versus Georgia, the main games. We reviewed them on Get Off My Pylon. To transfer back to Oregon State, one of the things I wrote at Trojan's Wire Tuesday morning is that Boise State really helped out USC. Now, how does that compute? How does that work? So Boise State just played an absolutely awful game. And you had the scene of Boise State, and Coach Andy Avalos trotting out Hank Bachmeier, the senior quarterback who's been there forever. And he has a terrible start, and he gets yanked right away for a much younger quarterback. A total panic move by Avalos. And that game just snowballed on Boise State, whose offense was absolutely abysmal for 2.5 quarters. So how does Boise State help USC and Lincoln Riley? It's because Boise State gave Oregon State nothing in terms of like, this is preparation for the USC offense. Like there's nothing you can go on. There's nothing you can use as kind of a tool of, well, based on this Boise State film, here's the adjustments we can make against USC. Boise State left Oregon State with nothing to use in terms of preparation for USC. So Boise State basically wasted a week of preparation for Oregon State. Now, I'm not saying like, oh, this means USC is naturally going to win. That's I do think, and I've been on record as saying this, like this is the thorny game that USC has to survive. It's going to be tough. It's going to be, a battle for 60 minutes. But like if you're a USC fan, this is the point. If you're a USC fan, you're looking at that Boise State, Oregon State game, you're going, Oregon State really didn't get that tough battle with a lot of things to think about that will really sharpen the Beavers for USC. All in all, if you look at that game, you're going, Boise State really did not help Oregon State in terms of year-long development. The Broncos offense was so bad. And might I add, Mark, as just kind of a sidebar comment here, Andy Avalos looks totally out of his league at Boise State. And if that situation does not get rectified, he is going to be on the hot seat sooner rather than later in Boise.